Jesuits all the time.
Well, it's a great experience, I have to say. They combine intense intellectualism with discipline, not in the sense of, smacking you around, but intellectual rigor, discipline in how you handle yourself as a person, as a human being. And they have a general motto of, and I think this had a major influence on me and what I did, is the issue of service to others. That's very big. That doesn't mean that people who don't go into public service are doing anything lesser with their lives, but they tend to have I wouldn't say a pushing, but a leaning towards something about what you do is public service. Either everything you do, which turned out what I did by going into public service, or at least a part of your life. So it was an interesting combination of concern for mankind as well as a good intellectual rigor.
When did you want to be a doctor? Can you remember the time?
I think it was early high school. I'm very interested in people. I'm very much of a people person, and probably as part of the Jesuit training, which was very steeped in the classics and the humanities. So when I went to Regis High School, we took 4 years of Greek, 4 years of Latin, a Romance language, and ancient history and things like that. When I went to Holy Cross, which is another Jesuit school, as a college, I took kind of a hybrid pre-med course. It was called, it's almost an oxymoron, it was called AB Greek Classics Pre-Med. So you were majoring in the humanities and the classics with a lot of philosophy, but you took enough science to get into medical school. And the idea about when I wanted to become a doctor, I like science, I like discovery, I like the challenges of science, but I also so much liked mankind and the humanities that it was just a natural fit. That where do you put science and people in the same bucket? And to me, that was medicine.
Who was an early mentor?
Probably some of the very young Jesuits in Regis High School. In the Jesuit training, it's a long, long training before you become a Jesuit priest. And back then they had what's called scholastics, were people who weren't yet ordained as priests, but they dressed with the garb of a priest, and they taught in the high school. And there were a couple of those scholastics who had a major impact on me. Just great people, highly intellectual and highly nurturing of you and what you wanted to do.
You did an interview with scientists